Allah Akbar.
Think, reflect, analyze, look into the creation.
Muslims are facing challenges not just in America, but around the world. But in the midst of all of this, Johari says that there's a birth of a new breed of 21st century Muslims.
It's not just enough to point the finger at the other one. Now that we are in position, we have to be responsible and we have to run the society. If you're looking in Pakistan, young people who may be getting a message of saying, hold true to your values, don't be corrupted by the West and its influences and so on. Those young people at the same time are going to have increasing access to satellites, cell phone, text messaging, this and that, and they are going to be connected with their friends and relatives who are living in the West, who are practicing Islam, and there's going to come out of that population a new set of scholars and a new set of thinking that is not the pushback from consumerism, but to say to people, what should we do? How should we live? What should be the balance? And the Deen of Islam has resident in it those characteristics that will bring it back into balance. So it might look frightening now, and there might be some voices who are from the revolution, that when those people move into the middle of their lives and they have young people who are influenced but now matured, I feel confident that they will come back to the balance.
Johari doesn't think of himself as a convert, but he says that early Islam thrived on converts. They were more serious and passionate about their faith, and they would first understand each word of the Quran in depth and then act on it.
I believe that the institution of teaching children the discipline of memorizing the Quran is excellent. But that's not the last step, that's the first step. How do I know this? Because the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, their relationship with the Quran was that they never memorized, some riwayah say 10 ayat, some say 3 ayat. They never memorized this many, except that they contemplated upon its meaning until they understood, and then applied it to their daily lives. To do that means you have to do more than be a human parrot of the Quran. It means that you have to understand the implications of the Quran and then say, what is this message saying? And to know enough about it that then I can put it into practice.
Imam Johari recalls that once there was a time when Muslims were known for their knowledge and wisdom.
In the Muslim world today, this used to be the most literate society on earth. Muslims. The quality of a person's life was determined by how much they knew and how much they did with what they knew. Today, there are many reasons why. There is colonialism and what's left from it. There is dictatorship. There is other kinds of anti-religious, secular, socialist, communist movements and so on that have had all their negative effects on the civilization, such that now in many parts of the Muslim world we have something that 1,000 years ago we didn't know about: illiteracy. People who live in the Muslim world who can't read or write. And if they can read or write, they can read only enough Quran to pronounce the sounds. But literacy requires that you read and you comprehend what you are reading. If that is the case, the ummah that the first words brought to it, Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم. That society, not the society of the Muslim world today. Read, write, know what you're reading, understand what Allah gave you. That's not the society that you see if you go to much of the Muslim, Arab, Asian world. But you will find Muslims in the West are very literate, where free thinking is still something that is valued. The Quran tells us, think, reflect, analyze, look into the creation. Well, that idea is now taboo in the Muslim world. Don't think. Don't reflect. We will tell you what you need to know. Do as I tell you. Well, in another part of the world, that wisdom in the Quran, reflect, think, analyze, be critical. It is not to be a Westerner, but to be a critical thinker and to learn. And we have much to learn from the East, and we have much to teach from the West.
Critics would ask what makes American imams different from the imams in Middle East or South Asia.
This is a country in which, until very recently, the overwhelming majority of Muslims here were converts. Now, if you can imagine what a convert brings to a faith, is like the character of those people who were with the Prophet ﷺ. They were all converts. They were all believing in something else, and they sat with the Prophet ﷺ, and they studied and they learned from him until finally they reached the day and they said, you know what? I want to be Muslim. And I want to be Muslim, and I don't care who doesn't like it. That person is more energetic and motivated for the real tenets of Islam. If I ask somebody who lives in another country, what is Islam? You look at me like you're crazy. What are you talking about? What is Islam? We are Muslim. We live Islam. That's what Islam is. Oh, really? You have lost maybe some of the foundation of what Islam is. Your culture and Islam all washed together. And so now, in America, if you put the people's culture in the pot, and you put the Islam in the pot, and you put the fire under this crucible, it will begin to burn off all of the culture and leave just behind the Islam. That's what you have in America.
9/11 has played a pivotal role in the lives of American Muslims.
So people ask, well, what does Islam say about killing innocents? We say that the Quran says if you killed one innocent person, it would be as if you killed all of humanity. Why does everyone know that ayah now? Because of 9/11. Islam, now the pure Islam, burned from that fire. People have to know that.
The community of Falls Church, Virginia appreciates the work and efforts of Imam Johari. And as one resident said, watching imams like these reminds him that things around us could be looked at with many different perspectives. For Muslims America, I'm Imran Siddiqui.
إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات